Welcome back to the Circle of M podcast. I am your host, Marcus Smith II. I have my good guy with me. So Cole, man, what's going on? How you doing, man?
Peace and love, my brother. How you feeling, man?
Man, you know how I'm feeling. We were just talking, man, just trying to get all these things situated. But like you said, man, I think this definitely gonna be the one. This gonna be for the culture right here, man. But how are you doing, man? What's new, man? Tell me what's new with you right now.
I'm gonna answer the first question first, man. I'm in the space of transforming, and I recognize that. We right now, at the time that we're recording this, we just hit that spring equinox, and a week before we just hit that spring forward with the time and daylight savings early. So I feel that the external shift that's happening outside of my personal world, but I also feel this internal transformation that's happening because of all the work that I've been doing leading up into this space, and now just like the spring flowers are starting to blossom.
Yeah, that's how it's kind of.
And then what's new for me, I think, is this also just this season that I'm stepping into, this season of abundance that I'm already claiming in advance. And I speak that over everyone under the sound of my voice as well.
Man, that's so real. That's so real in every aspect. And man, it's so hard to like keep your mental in check. Like you really have to treat it as like we're playing football, or we got to treat it like the same way. And I can get out of whack sometimes, man. But you did one simple thing with me before we got on the call. You said, "Hey, man, breathe, in through your nose, out through your nose." And I truly think that's something big, and that's kind of what we're gonna get into next, man. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your journey and how you kind of got to this point. But first, right now you're in LA.
Yeah.
Right? That's correct. You're in LA.
I'm tapping into the West Side.
Yeah, man. So, right now with where you are, what would you say that got you into your meditation and the things that you were doing, prior to this? You were doing a little bit of yoga, and then now you're in the meditation. Can you talk a little bit about where that started and where that came from?
Yeah, man. I think I was introduced to yoga a long time ago. I want to say probably back in high school, but I didn't allow myself to receive what the benefits were probably until 2019, to be honest. But it was the seed was planted a long time ago. The seed was planted, but I didn't. It took some time for it to mature. It took time for it to mature. It had to weather some storms, and then at the right time, when that right storm came, I was able to lean back on that seed that had started to grow.
Right.
And it was there for me to lean on, right? So I started leaning into yoga as a part of my healing after several surgeries that I had that put an end to my playing career. And from that, it just one modality led to the next. Like the yoga led to the meditation, meditation led to the breath work led to the sound healing, and so on my journey. And every step of the way, like I've been able to embody each practice for my personal development and growth and healing. So much so that I was like, wow, I see the difference that it's having in my life personally. And it couldn't have come at a better time, right? Because I was in the transition period of retiring from the NFL, and now I'm figuring out what's my purpose next, right? And now I'm realizing like the NFL wasn't my purpose; it was more my platform. And now this this gift of healing, right, and expressing myself creatively so that others may find a safe space to heal through yoga, through meditation, through breath work, through sound healing, you name it. Let me use that as my purpose with the platform I just left.
And that's important. That's important. Like, let's talk about purpose a little bit, because you know what people don't really know what their purpose is or how to even find their purpose. But with us, we were so focused on football, and a lot of times we didn't give ourselves the time to really figure out who we were outside of that. And I know you had mentioned before, like your career-ending injury and what that did to you. Let's talk about your mental stability going through that and how you overcame that, because that was a huge part of your life and about your transition, man.
That's a significant part of my story that I always find strength in telling now. When I was living it, I didn't have that strength. To be quite frank with you, at the top of 2018 is when I had surgery on my neck, and less than 30 days later from that, I had surgery on my hip.
Right.
All to start the year heading into my unrestricted free agent year. So I was just like feeling a lot of pressure from there, and mentally, that took a toll on me. More, I've had surgery before. I had surgery on my knee in college, and I willed myself back to a point where I could continue to press forward. Right? We push ourselves through so much. We put our bodies through so much physically, and
Really do, man.
at this point, after I had neck surgery specifically, changed my mindset because I played college football and I saw my teammate Eric LeGrand get paralyzed and never get back up.
Oh,
And
yo, I remember that. I
he
remember that.
still he's still in the wheelchair to this day. Right. So that's been over 10 years. But now his whole purpose is shifted to be an inspiration to others. Like probably at this point, millions. He's written a book. He's opened a business, right? He's continuing to push in his rehab daily to inspire others, right? But I knew that there's already a risk to paralyze yourself playing the game. I experienced it. I saw that, and then I said, I got neck surgery. Now I got to make a decision to go back, and the risk is even greater.
Yeah.
And I'm at 25, 26 years old at this time. I'm like, you know what?
I don't know about this one.
Bro, mentally, I could not, I as a receiver, as a big target, I could not go back out there knowing that I'm an even bigger target running across that middle, and they already headhunting on that other side of the ball.
Yo, I remember a play, like we played y'all in college, and
Yeah,
our hardest hitting safety
yeah,
came up and tried to splack you, and
man.
you bounced right off, and you took it to the house on us,
Bro, that was a great game, man. But yeah, still like having those, hard hitters coming downhill, bro. It's different when you feel strong, but like when you make an adjustment like that to your spine, it changes the game for me. So it was a hard decision, but at the same time, I'm glad I made that for myself.
Right? Because in that moment, you made that decision for yourself, and through that, you started to find your
Yes,
purpose and what
yes.
you were, what God had planned for you.
Yeah, so leading into that rehab process, now I'm on this space of where I'm looking for all types of things that help me get out of this space, right? Whether it's obviously the physical rehab, but nobody was really helping me with the mental rehab that I needed. We spent so much time, we spent years training ourselves physically, right? Going to the
Man.
gym after school, going to get a workout in before classes even start.
Right.
And then going to class. Right? We never trained our minds. We never put the effort, the energy into our minds and into that. Some of the key phrases now is that mental gym. You hear that tag phrase out a lot now, but
So real.
it's really true, right? You got to have that balance of mind body connection. We spent so much time emphasizing the body part and separating it from the mind when it's really connected. It's really needed to merge in order to have that in order to operate at our fullest potential. And so
Yep.
now that my body can't really do anything, like God needed my attention. So whenever I get hurt, I realize, okay, God needs my undivided attention because he has to tell me something, or he needs to prepare me for where I'm about to go next. It never
Yep.
makes sense while you in it, right? But I had some wisdom poured onto me that was what I was experiencing in that moment.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, okay, now I need to go within, right? Because and I had this download a couple days ago, and we spend so much time on the surface level, right? And where everything is just, social media, right? Everything we just see on the surface level. But during that time when God had my undivided attention, I had to go to the substance level. I had to take one,
Mm.
I had to go down, and that substance level is within,
Mm.
right? So that's your surface level is your skin, and your substance is within, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
a
yeah,
bar.
yeah.
That's gonna be a bar. Nah, that's wow.
Yeah. So
Say that
from
again,
there,
bro. Say that again.
so from there, I'm gonna slow it down. That surface level is your skin, but the work is done within in your substance. You gotta go
Mm.
within to do that substance work, and then from there you can go do that shadow work. But that's a whole nother conversation.
Wow.
That's a whole nother conversation. And it's all been unfolding to me. So going back to where my mind was at, I came across an interview that one of my favorite rappers did, J. Cole. He did an interview in 2018 around Rolling Loud time, and it was with Angie Martinez, I believe. And he openly talked about how meditation has helped him, right, prepare for interviews, how he meditates before a show, and how he's not perfect and he doesn't have a practice every day. And but someone who I still look up to, and he said it's so cool, calm, and collected in the interview. And I was just like, wow, I never heard that before. So now that planted a seed for me to pique my interest, to explore what this is about. And
Man.
in the beginning it was tough. I was beating myself up because I'm like, this like everybody else. This is not working for me. My mind won't shut up. All these thoughts are just, I'm not doing this right. Like all that started happening, right? And then, but I kept pushing through it, kept pushing through it.
Yeah.
And I started challenging myself, got into these different apps and exploring, and really just allowing myself to try to surrender to see if this could really make a difference. I started noticing
Yeah.
a difference. But in that space, I started getting competitive with it, right? Because certain apps have like trackers, right? And they'll track like, all right,
Yeah.
he got 3 days in a row, he
So
got the
you were
week.
challenging yourself.
Had to push myself in some way to keep that drive going. I don't know. It's just that athlete on the
Yeah.
inside, bro. So I'm challenging myself to get to 30 days straight meditation with just 5 minutes a day. Real
Yeah.
low increments, not putting too much pressure on myself, but still like 5 minutes a day. And you got 24 hours in a day, and we can't take 5 minutes out of the day for ourselves. I heard this quote from a meditation guy, David G. He said, if we're not willing to spend 5 minutes with ourselves each day, then why would somebody else be willing to spend 5 minutes with us?
Mm.
Right? And that hit
Yeah.
home for me. That hit home for me.
That's
I said, bro,
powerful.
I owe myself at least 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
At
That's
least
all you
five
got to
minutes.
give.
Because I'll be ready to give time to everybody else, but not myself. How?
Yeah. But see, even with that too, it's like you talked a little bit about it before. Oftentimes we don't give ourselves grace. We don't give
Mm-hmm.
ourselves like the
Mm-hmm.
room to grow because it's a learning process. We want everything to be perfect. Everything that's shown to us is perfect,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything that we see is perfect. And you mentioned you took a hiatus from social media because you really wanted to
Several.
focus,
I'm taking several.
right? And for me, I need to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But for people who are listening in to this,
Yeah.
it doesn't happen overnight. And to find yourself and to find who you truly are and what your purpose is, it's going to be a journey, and it's not going to be right there in front of you. You have to
You got to
really
do the work.
seek
You got to
and
do the work.
do the work.
Got to
And
do the work.
you also mentioned, we talked about this before the last time we spoke. You mentioned how through your process, you did a lot of crying and a lot of really letting all those emotions
Yeah,
flow through you. Talk
yeah,
about that a little bit, how as a man, how
man.
important that is.
I'm gonna tell you exactly like I told you last time, bro. From 2018 to 2020, that 2 year stretch, I cried more in 2 years than I cried my whole entire life in that 2 year stretch. And I tell you why, because I had reached a point that I've been holding so much in prior to, that I've been holding so many tears in for years, that I got to a point where I couldn't hold anymore. And I'm looking at myself, I'm like, bro, what
It's
is
like an
wrong with you?
overflow.
I'm like, what is wrong with you? You crying again? Bro, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking to myself like, tighten up. But that voice was the voice that was planted in me from a kid. Like that's soft, that's feminine, that's not like a man. Men don't cry. Like that was the message that was speaking to me. And I'm like, hold on, bro. You need balance. You need balance. You need the nurture. You need the compassion. You need kindness. You need gentleness, right? You need to give yourself grace. You need to be patient with yourself. And if all of that, if you need to let the tears fall, let them fall freely
Let it
without
go.
judging yourself, right? You need to let them fall freely without judging yourself. And because we spend so much time embracing the smiles, embracing that surface level again. We spend so much
Yeah.
time embracing those smiles and smiling in front of the cameras, but on the inside, we on the substance level, we really crying, we really are hurt for
Yeah.
whatever reason, right? But when you really get a chance to let those tears fall outwardly, freely, with no judgment, bro, that is a liberating feeling. That's a liberating feeling. And especially as a black man, to feel safe enough to even have this conversation and not worry about backlash and not worry about somebody criticizing me for being
Oh,
vulnerable.
he a bitch, or
Come
he
on,
a
man. Like, nah,
yeah.
it was a time where I thought that was soft.
Me too.
Right.
Me
You
too.
know what I'm saying? Especially playing football. He crying, he a crybaby. We
But we
using
don't
that against you.
realize,
We're using that
yeah,
against you as a weapon, but it's really a
exactly.
superpower, right?
Yeah.
My whole
It's your
mindset had to
strength.
change. Yeah, my whole mindset had to change, especially with like words like vulnerability. I thought vulnerability was a liability, not an asset.
Ooh, say that. Say that again for the
I used to
people.
I used to think that vulnerability was a liability and not an asset. Now I view it as an asset, and it's one of my strongest assets, right? That I have in my portfolio. If we
That's
want to, if
important.
we want to, if we want to talk business, we could do that too.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
No,
saying? But
wow.
showing that is important, especially for black men like me and you.
Bro, that is, I mean, this show can't even get any realer than that from you speaking that,
Yeah.
because the whole grace, the whole thing behind it, you actually letting that out and feeling very comfortable. Like sometimes I would, even with my wife, sometimes I had to catch myself, right? Because I'll be thinking to myself, like, I don't want to, her to ask me like what's wrong,
Mm,
right? Or think something is wrong,
mm,
rather than just letting it go. And sometimes I just let it go. And if she asks me, I'll tell her, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it gets overwhelming. Sometimes it gets to the point where you have to let that out, and
mm,
it's an overflow. But I
mm.
think God definitely intended for us to weep like Jesus wept. You know what I'm
Come
saying?
on, man. Come on, man.
Like it wasn't, it was intended, it's not intended for us to hold all that in,
Listen,
because
you feel lighter. You feel lighter when you
yeah, it's
release
like
that,
a
right? When you release those tears, you release those, um, you release the toxins, you release the trauma, you release the fears, you release, and not all the time when you cry, you don't have to associate it with pain. People cry for joy
right,
all the time.
right.
People cry when they are celebrating, when they are worshiping. People cry when they are giving somebody else flowers, right? And they can still smell them,
Yeah.
right? So it's a balance for sure. But I've learned in my personal life that this is okay. And now that I've realized that it's okay, I'm comfortable with that, right? And now I want other, especially black boys specifically, to know that it is okay. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Need to cry and not and feel safe enough to end that, right? As they go through and regulate their emotions, whatever experiences they have encountered.
So weeping, crying, uh, giving yourself grace, finding yourself, your true happiness, your purpose. All of this is a part of Black men. All of this is a part of growth and healing.
Mm.
So I want to ask you too, uh, Soul Cole. I almost called you B Cole, right? Like what do we tell the generations coming up? Like, how do we stop this generational curse of not wanting to cry and just holding everything in, and by the time we get married or by the time we get wives, we can't be all that we can be for the people in our corner because we haven't dealt with some of the issues that have been plagued us from 5, 6 years old. Like what do we tell the
I
next
think
generation?
I think we can definitely tell them, okay, it's safe for you, but we more than that, we have to show them, right? And they have to see it portrayed the same way I saw, heard, and felt J. Cole talking about meditation, and it was calming. And
So they
I
got to
could,
see stuff like this,
it
like
got
what we doing.
that's where I'm leading to, right? I'm leading to this, right? These are the things that's going to help that next generation because we know this. They look up to us.
Yeah.
We know that we've always known that that generation was always looking up to us since we was in high school, and they're continuing to do that. And so we have a responsibility, which we're doing now, to have an open dialogue, sharing and being vulnerable, right? And talking about things from A to Z that most people or most platforms don't discuss organically, authentically, and it's just what needs to be heard.
Yeah. That's so what I got out of what you just said, learning from you, bro, is we got to be about action.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be
We
about
got
that
to,
action, boss. We got to
of
show them
course.
that, like, if I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna cry,
If I'm
and
a
you got
cry,
to you got to have a brother that
mm-hmm.
you can lean on
Man,
and
and
and be able to talk to.
I'm grateful that you are one of those brothers that I can call and lean on, and
For
and
sure.
that's reciprocated. And I have so many other brothers who I can hold space with. And I just came up with this since I've been out here in LA, bro. And it's a new standard, and I want everybody else to embrace this standard if it resonates with you. We can go turn up with all your friends, right?
Right.
But those same friends you can turn up with, how many of them can you go heal with?
Mm.
So,
Can you go
so
here?
you know what I'm saying? If I can, if I can go turn up with you, I need to be able to go heal with you. But if I can't heal with you, I can't turn up with you. That's a new standard, right? If we can't go on a retreat together, if we can't go to like a wellness retreat together, if we can't go to a healing circle, let's say you do one of these in person and we have everybody come. If I'm like, bro, like come pull up to the Circle of M, we're gonna have this live conversation where it's just men and we just gonna get down, and you be like, nah, you just making excuses, and that's cool, right? Something might come up, but if it's like a thing, but then I tell
Yeah.
you, like, bro, we about to go to Miami, we about to go to Vegas and turn up, and you with it? I'm like, nah, 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 nah. You know what I'm saying?
You,
We got to start to keeping people around us who gonna hold us accountable on both sides,
yeah.
right? That's
Yeah.
what it comes down to:
You
accountability
gotta
partner.
have people that are gonna
Accountability
hold you
partners.
accountable.
You feel
Yeah.
me?
You
So if I
got
can't
to.
heal with you, I can't turn up with you. That's period. Moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah, because you want somebody in your corner that's not gonna be a yes man. You want
Exactly.
somebody that is going to tell you when you're wrong, or tell you, or like not
Or
tell
help
you,
you.
but help you get
Yeah.
to where you're trying to go, man. It's all about your tight knit group and who you have and what you see for yourself. So those people that are around you need to definitely look like that. And I want to transition to talk about like what you're doing now and
Yeah.
how you're really cultivating this mental health atmosphere with meditation, with yoga, with your affirmations playlist. Like, man, you got
Mm,
so many great things
yeah.
going on.
I
I want
appreciate
to talk. I want to talk a little bit about your transition to LA
Yeah.
and how that's been going and how your meditation came about.
Yeah, man. So starting, like I said, I realized I started doing the work and started going within and figuring out what my new purpose is in this season of my lifetime. And in that space, part of my purpose is using my voice. I didn't realize that I had a voice until the pandemic, to be quite honest. I didn't know that my voice was a gift.
It sure is. You got that. Ooh.
Yeah. I got that quiet storm. I'm just getting warm, voice.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't know that until like I thought when people told me I had a voice that I was like I could sing, and I'm like I can't sing, so I don't know what they talking about. But then I bought this microphone, and then I said, "Oh, this is different." Now I know what everybody else is saying, so I started using that. And then from that, the affirmations track, affirmations and ad lib, that's out now on all streaming
About to
platforms.
say, tell them where they can go get the
Yeah,
affirmations
affirmations and
ad
ad lib,
lib.
and that's if you like listening to affirmations to get yourself right. It's every affirmation that you needed, that you didn't know that you needed, but the ad lib sound like Migos, and it's just what I'm saying, that gets you hyped. You feel me? So that
Yes,
was
sir.
that, yes sir. So that'll definitely get you in your zone. But on the other side of that, some of the other things that I'm doing with the meditation mixtape volume 1 that I'm getting ready to release here very soon, and I'm excited about that. That'll be on all streaming platforms as well. It's a project that I was inspired to do during the pandemic when I was actually in Colorado doing that 30 days sabbatical and healing, and off the grid. I spent that whole time healing, working on myself, getting the treatment that I needed, the therapy that I needed. But at the same time, when I would go into my room, I started writing the project. I wrote down, it ended up being 8 tracks that I'm gonna release, different guided meditations to help introduce specifically our culture and a time where they're looking for it. They're looking for a different voice. They're looking for a different sound. They're looking for a different flavor, that is not, generic. And it's something that speaks to them. Right. So I knew that I always wanted to hear something like this, but I couldn't find it.
So now you're the one.
Now I'm the one, you know what I'm saying? So that was when I realized, when I got these downloads, I was like, oh my goodness, I got to put this out.
Exactly.
Got to find a way to put this out. And, and as hard as it may seem, I knew that I couldn't go to a record label and pitch them this idea and say, hey, I want to do a meditation mixtape, 8 tracks. Can you help, fund this?
Yeah.
Nah, I knew that I didn't even waste my time with that.
But it's so good for the culture. It really is.
Listen, I promise you right now, I'm letting you know right now, your soul didn't know it needed this. I promise you. You know what I'm saying?
And it's crazy because you can also look at, you're a Black man, you don't have any Black voices when it comes to meditation.
Come on.
Right?
Come on. Now I won't say what any.
Better way.
I won't say any, but it's a lack of
slim.
It's a lack of, right? You have to look high and low to find those Black voices, to find those voices that are that are of our own.
What
right?
better now than that time for you to do this, because we need it, bro. We need it.
What better time than now, bro? This is like, think of this as like an entry level, right? And this is me planting seeds for other people, right? So it's so many other minority voices, Black voices that are out there in this space that I even look up to, right? That I'm inspired by, and which also led me to this point, right? But it's on a global scale, it's hard pressed to find that, right?
Yeah.
And part of me, using my platform now, I can help push that out there and say you listen to one of my tracks, and then that's gonna, branch you off to go find somebody else. And however it unfolds for you, it's supposed to unfold in that way. And I just want to be an entryway. I just want to be an entry point to this space and let you continue to explore if you want to continue to explore through me. But there's so many other facilitators and practitioners that are out there
Yeah.
who look like you, who sound like you, but I just want to start to bring awareness to that space, and it's
You're doing that.
it's beautiful, man. I'm excited for it.
Man, you're doing that, man. And you just told the people where they could find it.
Yes,
You want to
sir.
say that again one more time, like where
Yeah,
they can find it?
so the meditation mixtape volume 1 officially will be released on 4/22/22. That's Earth Day. So stay tuned. That's gonna be on all streaming platforms. And I might have a couple surprises in there, some visuals in there for you, but I'm gonna
Let's
just
get
leave it
it.
at that.
Man. So, in wrapping up and this great conversation that we're having, again, if you're just tuning in, I'm on a call, or not a call, but I'm on this with Soul Code, man, and we're having an awesome conversation on the Circle of M podcast, man. This has been amazing. If we could tell or go back
Mm.
and say to yourself or tell yourself something
Mm-hmm.
that you possibly, didn't know along the way, right? What would you go back and tell yourself to help yourself continue to move on the path that you're going on now? Maybe it's a thing that you didn't know, but
Yeah. I
you would
think
give yourself,
it could be a couple things. I think the first thing that comes up for me is your discipline will be rewarded. That's something that came up for me. I think so often when I was a kid, I used to, think it was punishment for doing certain things, right? Or having discipline in any capacity of my life. I thought that it was a
Yeah,
punishment because of, whoever my classmates, they weren't as disciplined as me. They could have all these other things and right, but your discipline will be rewarded, right? That is a guarantee. And then also, um, I would tell myself as a kid, never get comfortable being like comfortable. Never get complacent. Um,
yeah,
that's where you start to expose yourself. You get exposed, and that things can go downhill, and you'll learn from it too. But try to avoid getting comfortable. That's another reason why I came to LA. This is uncomfortable.
mm,
This is
yeah,
this is uncomfortable as I don't is heck, bro. Like for me,
yeah,
someone who is very keeps to himself, is very introverted on the surface level. To come into LA like in the mix, but I knew that I needed to challenge myself in this capacity if I
yeah,
wanted to tap in, like I really wanted to tap in and have the impact
yeah,
that I know that this can have in wellness and mindfulness with these practices that I'm, introducing and building my brand, right? And I needed to come in and get uncomfortable. That's really at the core. Is the really reason why I'm out here is because it's uncomfortable.
wow. So, man, what you just said was, you got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
There you go. There you go. Right.
Wow.
And then when you do that, the game gonna start to slow down. You know just as well as I know. The savvy veterans that
Play
make
a long
long
time.
careers, that play long careers, the game slow down for them. The
Yeah,
game slow down for them because it's just all in the flow, right? They
yeah,
know how to study the tape. They know how to be a professional on and off the field, and they learning. They are lifelong learning. They always learning something, but the game starts to slow down. And right now, that's where
man.
I'm at. The game is slowing down for me because I'm tapped in to myself. I've been doing the work. I'm in my flow, and that's all I know.
Ooh, in my flow, that's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, man, I would tell myself, to give myself grace.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be too hard on myself, because a lot of times, and I don't know if maybe it's a lot of people that deals with this. One thing can happen and just throw off their day. And
Mm-hmm.
if you notice, be Cole, you were telling me, nah, man, just breathe,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just take a second, right? Give yourself that grace, right? Give yourself room for error, right? There's only one person that walked this earth that was perfect, right? God, we're not perfect, so we have to live in that. And I also would tell myself, consistency is key. Because I know you also mentioned that you the consistency part, you would want that to be like on a whole nother level. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like for me, it's like sometimes I get lax and I can't get comfortable,
That's man,
and then
trap
whatever
music.
I got to get uncomfortable to make me go, to make me push even harder. That's what I have to do. That's what I have to do,
That's what
man.
we all
So
have to
your
do to grow.
words are really infectious and very real.
Mm.
And I truly believe that. And I appreciate you for speaking that real. But it's just one more question
Yeah, yeah. What's up, bro?
that I have for you, man. Um, is there can you talk a little bit about your routine, and maybe this is something that can a young uh a young guy, young female, or somebody our age that
Mm-hmm.
can get a beat on, like what
All right,
type of routine they may
got
can have
you. I got you.
if they have the meditation, if they're
Yeah.
trying to do the same things that you're doing. Talk to them a little bit about your routine and how you
This is
get
what I
those
will
things
say.
done.
This is what I will say. Everything doesn't work for everybody, right? So in your journey of figuring out what works for you and what doesn't, be open-minded to explore, right? Release all expectations going into, building your routine, right? What works for me may not work for you, but it could. Just be open-minded to it and to give it a chance, right? So one thing that I will say that you can hold on to and you can implement this, that I learned this and I've adopted this practice and I want to give it to you. So that is this: identify what are your non-negotiables, right? And what I mean by that,
Let's go.
it is non-negotiable for me to start my day without prayer, without giving thanks, without taking time to sit with myself. That can look like meditation. That can just look like, me sitting in stillness and in silence and just showing gratitude, right? I write down what I'm grateful for every day. I've been doing it for almost 3 years now. I got a couple gratitude journals that I filled in
I
and
got to get
out
on
like
that.
completely, bro. Like now I'm just at a
I got to
point
get
where
on
I
that.
can't keep up with the journals and I just take it in my
Yeah.
phone. I put it in my phone and every day, bro, I'm writing down what I'm grateful for. That's a
Right.
non-negotiable, right? My prayer, devotion, praise and worship, all that's non-negotiable for me. So identifying what is not, like when I say non-negotiable, under any circumstances, you will not compromise. You will not allow any outside factor to compromise your what you need to do for yourself. Like
Mm.
when you called me earlier today, and you know what I'm saying, I was like, "Yo, I know we got to get ready for this joint, but I need to go get I need to go get my reps in."
Non-negotiable.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's non-negotiable, right? I know under any circumstance. So that for me is a priority. So that's what I want to introduce and leave with the listeners, right? I didn't spend some time, right? Spend some time unpacking, writing down what would you identify as a non-negotiable under any circumstances. You will get this done because you would make a choice. It comes down to you making a choice for yourself, right? You
Yeah.
making a choice for yourself. And right, I will continue to choose me in this season. I will continue to invest in me. I will continue to bet on me. And that's how I live. That's how I operate.
Man, it's crazy because COVID really forced us to sit with ourselves,
I had to
and we oftentimes we go and go and we don't stop.
check in. We
So
don't check in.
and we don't check in. You don't even check in. You don't check in with yourself.
Come
So
on.
uh, kids, people who are watching, man, you know, to help you find your purpose, you got to quiet your mind. You got to sit down. You got to
Go within.
really talk to God, talk to yourself, really, start to get in that mode. And some of the things that Brandon is talking about, these things will help you get
Yeah.
into that mode and quiet your mind a little bit.
Yeah, I
Man.
think I've heard it best put like this, and I've heard it best put like this when people say prayer is talking to God or spirit or your higher power, right? But meditation is listening.
Mm,
You need both in this world of effective communication.
Right.
We spend so much time talking, and that's cool. It has a purpose, but we don't spend time listening. We don't know how to listen and to hear what is, you know what I'm saying? That's for us. We're gonna miss the mark.
Right. So basically, as much as we speak, we have to be just as good of a listener.
But we got 2 ears
as well.
We got
right.
2 ears, but we gotta
One
listen
mouth.
twice as hard. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's for me, that's what I'm focusing on. And I think that's me tapping into my hearing has led me to the sound therapy.
Wow.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Because now I'm tuning my ears to different frequencies and different vibrations that are resonating with me, and I'm feeling those vibrations, and now I'm able to hold space for others in a way that I want to let them feel these vibrations and help their healing process through sound.
Shoot, tell the people where they can find you on social media too as well.
Yeah. So definitely on social media, IG, B_code16. Or if you just type in Soul Code in the search, I'm definitely the first one that's gonna pop up. Website soulcodethebrand.com. Follow me on, and tap in with me, all the events that I'll be doing, everything that I've already done, and it's definitely more in store for sure.
Yo, this been the dope interview. Again, we have Soul Code on the Circle of M podcast. Hey, we are sponsored by Pillar 2 Clothing. Is our first sponsor. Shout out to Pillar 2 Clothing, as you can see. Got them boys on me. Yeah, man. Circle of M podcast. Marcus Smith II.
Yeah.
And we out, man.
Say that.
Yes, sir.